2019년 6월 27일 대전 산내 곤령골. 많은 사람들이 한국전쟁 때 산내 곤령골에서 희생당한 민간인들을 추모하기 위해 모였습니다. 그리고 여기 눈에 띄는 한 영국인. 그녀는 과연 무슨 사연이 있어 머나먼 이곳 대한민국까지 왔을까요?
홍조쌍장 저지르는 피해질 일인백을
1차 학살 1400년 1차 학살 1800년
70년이란 긴 세월을 돌아 다시 대한민국에 온 에스터. 그녀의 2박 3일간의 여정을 함께 보았습니다.
Nice to see you.
Hello, how are you?
Hi. Nice to meet you.
에스터는 6월 27일 열리는 산내 곤령골 민간인 희생자 추모제에 참석하기 위해 지구 반바퀴를 돌아 이곳 대전까지 오게 되었습니다.
No, I was lucky.
Not that.
I was saying thank you, Alan.
That's nice.
그리고 그녀의 전 남편인 앨런은 한국전쟁 때 산내 곤령골 민간인 학살 사건을 최초로 보도한 영국 출신의 기자였습니다.
I spoke to Joe as well.
You have?
Yeah,
What,
I
today?
sent him your picture. He said you look well. He's very happy.
What is your first impression in Korea?
Very modern. Very modern. Very efficient.
You were telling me the first time you came here.
Oh, yes.
It's a very good story, listen.
The first time I
When
came near Seoul, near Korea, was when I was a 17-year-old, smuggling in a book to go in a boat.
The year was
1949.
1949, before the Korean War.
Yes, before the Korean War, and I wanted to go to North China. And
한국전쟁이 발발하기 직전인 1949년, 당시 중국으로 들어와 활동했던 그녀는 중국 내전의 위험으로부터 몸을 피신하기 위해 처음 한국 땅을 밟았다고 합니다.
So we had to hide from the Kuomintang in case they found us. So that was the first time I came anywhere near South Korea.
So the first time since 1949.
1949. Long time.
Amazing.
Before your time.
So Korea has changed a lot.
My goodness, yes. Yes. Very much so. Very modern. Very technical. So much so that I don't understand half of it.
She told me the best Alan Winnington story. Apparently he liked making kimchi.
Yeah.
Even in Berlin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. He made it all the time. After he left Korea, he couldn't bear the thought of not being able to eat kimchi, so he used to make it himself. But he not only makes it, but his sons make it. And now it's been passed on to his grandsons. They all make kimchi. It's his legacy.
Such a
Alan's
good story.
legacy. And he did it very well. He used to tuck it beef and ginger and garlic,
Oh.
chili. He liked chili very much.
한국에 다시 와보니 앨런과의 여러 추억들이 다시 떠오르는가 보군요.
Kimchi.
런던에서 태어난 앨런 위닝턴은 영국 일간지 데일리 워커 소속 기자로 중국 특파원으로 활동하게 됩니다. 그러던 중 1950년 한국 전쟁이 발발했고 그래서 앨런은 종군 기자로 한반도에 오게 되었습니다. 여기에서 그는 대전 산내 곤령골에서 벌어진 끔찍한 학살 현장을 목격하게 됐고 그 참상을 맨 처음 세상에 알리게 됩니다.
What makes you visit Korea this time?
I think it's a way of paying respect to Alan, my husband, who made many sacrifices for Korea. And the stories I heard about him and the way he talked about Korea, he had great love for the Korean people. And so when I was invited to come, I felt to honour Alan.
If I remember Korea when I was last here, that I loved the mountains, beautiful mountains, beautiful scenery.
Yeah, especially around Daejeon.
이제 더 이상 예전의 모습을 찾아보기 어려운 한국의 모습이 마냥 아쉬운가 보네요.
The meaning of Daejeon, big field.
And there used to be springs, hot springs, if I remember rightly.
Ah, was that when you were in the north?
North, yeah.
Ah. We have a hot spring in Yusong, in Daejeon.
I remember a friend of mine, another colleague of mine, we were bitten because it was wartime. We were bitten with bugs and fleas, and it was terrible. And one day we found this hot spring. And we went up and we took all our clothes.
Oh, it's in your book, isn't it? Yeah, I read it. How you tell the stories.
It was wonderful.
And that Chinese soldier was there, right? Yeah.
Why were you staying in China in 1950s?
I came in 1949. I was a very young 17-year-old, full of revolutionary enthusiasm, but I was also born in China. And my life in England as an evacuee and a refugee wasn't a very happy one, and I suffered a lot of racial discrimination. So that sort of made me feel that England wasn't my country, and I really longed to return to China. So I did in 1949, when I was 17.
중국에서 살던 시절 청나라의 마지막 황제였다가 폐위당한 뒤 정원사로 살았던 푸이에 대해서 이야기하는데요.
Because he tended the chrysanthemums in the Forbidden City, in the park, Beihai Park.
So you just saw him drive past?
And he would ride past in a blue gamble uniform. Yeah.
It's amazing. That's just really
Just
interesting.
an ordinary member of the public. I think he must have been much happier doing that.
Yeah, my friends told me about him a few times, and apparently he was happier being a peasant.
And people just, he just rode past. Nobody took any notice.
Oh, there goes the king.
There goes the king, the emperor. Pui, yes.
그녀의 옛날 이야기는 베트남의 지도자 호치민과의 일화로도 이어집니다.
This was tea with ho.
Tea with ho.
And I bent down to stroke what I thought was a cat. And when I looked, it was a huge rat. It was huge. I jumped up like this, and he looked. I said, that was a rat. And he spoke French,
Of
Ho Chi Minh
course,
spoke
right.
perfect French.
젊은 시절 중국에서 왕성한 활동을 했던 에스터 앞에 어느 날 앨런이 찾아옵니다.
Tell me, how was Alan when you met him first?
Alan, I heard this. I worked in the Xinhua news agency, which was, and he was invited to come as an advisor to help with this very young agency just started. Do you remember these people had just come from the guerrilla areas and they knew nothing about news and so on. So he was asked to come and help to set up a news agency. And so I heard a lot about this wonderful Alan Winnington. As far as they were concerned, he was their hero. So when he eventually walked through the door, and he always had a very arrogant air, and I looked and I said to my friends, he's not handsome, he's ugly. He's got a weak chin, he's got a big nose, and he's arrogant. And they were shocked.
(1950년 6월 25일) 새벽 한반도에서는 끔찍한 전쟁이 시작되었습니다.
On 27 July at the Kaesong truce talks, the Reds agreed to an agenda, leaving the question of withdrawal of foreign troops to political conferences. The most important question still to be settled.
그리고 앨런은 한국으로 급파되어 종군 기자로서 한국 전쟁을 취재하게 되었죠.
British and Australian communist correspondents Alan Winnington and Alfred Burchett cover the talks with the Red delegation.
How did you feel when you met him again after he had come back from the Korean War?
I think it affected him greatly because he was a very kind-hearted man. This arrogance was a shield. Beneath it, he was a very sensitive, very compassionate man. And I think the Korean War really affected him because he saw so much suffering, particularly about the napalm that killed little children and people and mothers, and he described a buffalo being burnt with napalm and it wallowing in the water. And of course, napalm, it doesn't put the flames out, it continues burning. And this affected him a lot.
You can use your spoon.
한국에서의 첫날 저녁. 1949년이 아닌 21세기 한국에서 전통 음식을 맛봅니다.
I always drink it as well, but I think you're meant to use your spoon. That is good actually.
Very nice.
Welcome to Korea.
Thank you. That's it.
여기에 소주 한 잔이 빠질 수 없겠죠.
I think we ought to drink this to Alan.
Ah,
Alan.
okay.
And
Alan Winnington.
Esther.
Alan
And Esther.
All right, cheers. Again, bottoms up.
Yeah, bottoms up. Okay. What did he say first when you met him again?
When
You guys.
Well, as I got to know him.
Got together in China.
Yes,
after the Korean
well,
War.
as
So
I-
what did he say the first?
after Korea or before Korea?
After the Korean War.
Well, we married during the Korean War, but then he was backwards and forwards. He used to come back for a rest because the Korean, it was very bad. He had very bad food and he lived on kimchi and anything that he got. So he used to come back for rest and recuperation and then go back again. And so it was during that period that we married.
Day is open, so how do you feel now?
There you are. I'm fine, lovely, lovely. Too much food last night. It was.
오늘 에스터는 3내 골룡골 희생자 위령제에 참석하기 전 대전에 남아있는 한국 전쟁의 흔적들을 돌아보고자 합니다.
Very tasty. Before meeting,
The bereaved families.
I
Today you
will
are going to
probably
meet
be
them,
very
right?
upset. I will be very upset. I am not looking forward to it. But if it helps.
하늘에 있는 앨런의 마음도 에스터와 같은지 하늘에선 비가 내리고 있습니다.
제가 저쪽 막루를 보면서
에스터의 대전 여행을 위해 대전 역사 전문가 안여종 대표가 함께해 줍니다.
Oh, this is the prison.
Watchtower.
The watchtower.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Oh dear.
약 50년 정도 된 막루예요. 한국전쟁은 1950년에 일어났으니까 한국전쟁 이후 약 20년 뒤에 만들어진 막루.
After the Korean
Yeah,
War.
after the Korean War.
Yeah.
You know, Korean War 70 years ago.
Yes.
This history is 50 years ago.
My goodness.
1919년 5월에 만들어진 대전 감옥이에요.
원래는 originally it's actually the prison.
Yeah.
Prison 1919.
1990.
올해가
1919. 19.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Actually, and
올해
changed.
올해가 100년이 됐어요.
Oh.
So this year, the history arrived 100 anniversary. I mean,
wow.
yeah,
They
years
should-
anniversary.
100년 전에는 3.1운동, 일본 우리 만세운동이 있었다고 좀 알려주시네요.
So you know there's another important history.
1919년 처음 건립된 옛 대전 형무소터에는 현재 대규모 아파트 단지가 들어서 있습니다. 하지만 참혹했던 과거를 기억할 수 있는 몇 가지 흔적들이 이곳엔 아직 남아있죠.
3.1운동 100주년, 이 감옥도 100년이 된 겁니다. 이제 하늘에서 봤을 때
the air view of
이런
it.
모습이고, 그 다음에 요 막루 한번.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
네.
Yes,
like
yes. Oh,
하나,
one at
둘,
each corner.
셋,
Yes,
네.
yeah.
네, 네
Four,
개가
yes.
여전히 되고 있어요?
네 개가 있었는데 하나만 남아
Actually, there are 4, but
Yes.
these days only one still
Right, yeah.
remain.
Yes, yeah.
남편께서 50년 8월에 기사를 썼잖아요.
네.
그러니까 나는 한국에서 진실을 봤다라고
네,
하는
네.
기사에 이제 이런 학살이 있었거든요.
그리고 앨런이 보도했던 학살 현장의 또 다른 사진들도 보게 됩니다.
이 장면이 아니라 앨런이 봤던 장면은 잠시만요.
Oh, right, yeah.
네, 이 장면을 봤을 거예요.
Oh, yes, I think I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
that
Oh, I saw
picture.
this picture too. So maybe
Yeah.
your husband might watch this scene
Yes,
and
yeah.
took a
근데
picture.
여기는
terrible.
이제 좀 이따가 갈 그 산내
Oh, that
골룡골
man's face.
여기가 감옥이에요.
아,
그러니까 이 장소,
this place.
이 장소.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
예.
But who's this?
예.
That's an American soldier.
Soldier.
Yes, American soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
This picture is in the movie The Crime of Korea, an American propaganda
You
movie.
mean the Humphrey Bogart?
Yeah.
So this also
전쟁의
shown
참혹함을
another
그대로 간직하고 있었던 옛 대전 형무소.
From the newsreel? Am I right?
Yeah.
막루의 역할이 그러니까 망 보는 거잖아요. 감시하는 역할이잖아요. 그래서
네.
저 막루가 이런 학살의 현장을 지켜봤다라고 생각하고 문화재로 지정을 한 거예요.
Yes.
그러니까 저 막루는
Yeah,
역사의 증인이라는 의미를 부여했었어요. 우선 저쪽 붉은 벽돌집을 한번 봐달라고 하죠.
Would you watch that red brick house? This one.
Yeah.
네.
Black door.
스탑.
What was that for?
이게 붉은 벽돌.
Oh, I see. Oh, that was the entrance to
같은
the
벽돌이에요.
Same brick.
Yeah.
With this prison.
Yeah, I can see.
철거되기 전 옛 대전 형무소 건물에 쓰였던 붉은 벽돌을 사용해서 지어진 집. 이 집을 통해 우리는 또 다른 역사의 아픔을 되새길 수 있을 것 같습니다.
1984년 3월까지 이곳에 감옥이 있었어요. 여기가 바뀌고
네.
감옥 방, 이쪽이 감옥 아니에요.
So it was disappeared now. I mean the prison.
Yeah.
So you can see, according to this line,
Yeah.
there's outside the prison, and this part
Was
inside of the prison.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
그리고 옛 대전 형무소가 남긴 또 다른 아픔의 흔적인 우물.
Oh, well, that.
과거의 우물의 모습이에요.
What's that?
It's a well.
Yes.
Yeah. And that is in the past.
Yes.
The photos tells us in the
근데
past.
이 우물에서도
Oh no. Oh dear.
You know.
이 깊이가
soil.
12m예요.
What, they drowned them or just put the
Yeah,
bodies in?
the depth is 12 meter.
12 meters?
12 meter.
What? And
지름이 2m.
oh dear.
지름.
And the length, 2 meter, 2 meters.
In circumference.
근데
And what? And the bodies were put down here?
Yeah, right.
그러니까 시신을
Oh dear.
The body.
Oh dear, dear.
그러니까 이거는 이 장소는 아닌데
여긴 아니에요?
예, 함흥에서 있었던 일을 촬영한 건데
So actually, this
북한의 함흥.
this wasn't the same place. Here's the city of North Korea.
한국 전쟁 당시 북한군은 많은 우익 인사들을 학살한 뒤 그 시신을 이곳 우물에 버렸습니다.
Same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
그래서 수복
So
이후에
it's a well of death.
군인이 들어온 다음에 이곳에 시신을 다 이렇게 수습을 했는데 109 정도 시신.
So you know, after the South Korean soldiers retook this place,
Yes,
and
they took the bodies out.
took the bodies, around 100 bodies here from
dear.
here.
그리고 대전 형무소에 수감 중이었던 많은 좌익 인사들 역시 산내 골령골로 끌려가 남한 군인과 경찰들에 의해 무참히 학살당했습니다.
You said he had suffered from trauma after the Korean War. So can you tell me any symptoms that he showed?
He used to have nightmares and he would wake up shouting and I'd say, what's the matter? And he said, nothing. He hid it. And I think a lot of people they cannot talk about the horrors they see because they relive it. And it's a bit like prisoners of war in Germany and prisoners that were tortured and so on. And so he didn't want to talk about it, but he did once describe going to this field where thousands of Koreans were massacred. And I think it was in Kaesong. Kaesong, yeah, I think it was there. And he didn't want to talk about it, but he did mention about walking into this field and treading on a dead body because they weren't buried properly and they'd all been shot. And I think that affected him greatly, and he actually wrote a pamphlet about it.
대전에 남아있는 한국 전쟁의 또 다른 흔적, 한밭교육박물관. 일제 강점기 때 지어진 이곳은 전쟁 당시 초등학교였습니다.
And where the natural thing would be to just destroy it all.
Yeah.
But then that's history.
It is.
And you don't destroy history.
Definitely not. It's dangerous, isn't it?
일본 국기 같은 이런 이미지를 이 건물에
see.
이렇게 상징적으로.
Oh my goodness. The indoctrination must have been very strong, even with little children.
And it's always in the architecture.
Yes, yes.
여기 있는 이런 그 흔적들 보이시죠? 이렇게 이렇게 가린 흔적, 가린 흔적이 총탄자고.
Those traces is by bullet.
Really?
Yeah.
From what?
전쟁 때 치열한 교전이 있었음을 짐작할 수 있는 선명한 총탄 자국들.
1950년 7월 19일로 추정. 그때 대전 전투가 벌어져요.
There's a 대전 battle, right? 대전 battle.
What? Oh, right.
Yeah.
그래서 소련제 비행기 야크기라고 하는 비행기에서 총을 쏜 거예요.
How was it?
Very moving, and make you realize how both sides had mistakes, north and south, and it's one should recognize that because no two sides were perfect, and there were atrocities on both sides. But I knew that. And Alan knew that as well. But at the time you could only take the side of one, But nowadays I think one can be more open and objective and realise where the mistakes were made. But very sad, very, very sad when you think of so many thousands of innocent Koreans were massacred for no reason. For no reason at all.
그리고 이제 에스터는 70년 전 앨런이 갔었던 그곳, 산내 골령골로 향합니다.
But now these days, local people call it Goryonggo, and it means like I forgive my Korean, but it means like Valley of Bones.
Valley of Bones.
Because so many people were killed here.
Yeah.
So it's
He mentions that place in one of his books.
Yeah, that's it.
I should have brought. Do you have his pamphlets?
I will bring it tonight for you.
Oh right. I mean, I should have brought them with me, but I didn't. Showing everything I've.
감명소야 해주시고 가시죠.
Your name?
네, 환영합니다.
First name Esther.
Yeah, here. First, Esther. Just Esther.
And surname? I'll do address.
Yeah, address. Maybe just London.
You can just write London, England.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah. And here's your phone number, but just skip that.
You can skip the phone number.
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you.
마침내 골령골의 첫 발을 내딛는 에스터.
Oh, this is the place where Alan wrote about. Oh dear, that's very sad. Oh, it affected him so much.
그동안 감춰왔던 감정이 한꺼번에 밀려오는 듯합니다.
This is bad.
Oh. You don't have a good feeling here.
No, because Alan was so
sorry.
upset about it. Never mind. It has to happen. It has to come.
Yeah.
And at least it's being remembered.
But it really is these days. So many people
Yes.
care. Like,
Yes.
If you came here 20 years ago, there was
It
nothing.
wasn't, yes. So I wish he was alive to know that it's now being recognised and remembered. I really do wish that. Never mind. I'll have it inside and I'll feel for Alan.
And this question, I'm really sorry about that, but I heard that you divorced him later. What made you divorce him? Is there any reason connected with Korean War?
Yes, because he lost his passport and he was exiled into West Germany. He was unpopular with the Chinese authorities towards the end, and we had to leave China with our 2 children, and the only place we could go to was East Germany. It affected my 2 sons badly, and because we were Chinese citizens and he had no passport, he decided that he should send me to England to apply for a British passport for myself to see if the authorities would refuse it because of him. But they didn't. And in any case, I would have got a British passport because I had an English grandfather, but it was just as a trial to see what would happen. But then in the meantime, it affected our marriage a lot because it affected the children, and they didn't like East Germany and they couldn't settle. And my younger son had a breakdown, and we felt that we had to go back to England and live in England. And of course, time, it didn't mean that we didn't meet or there was any enmity. It was a question of what was convenient. And so we visited Germany many times, and the children spent their holidays with Alan. And when he eventually got his passport over 20 years later, he used to come and visit and stay with us. So there was never any enmity at all.
여사님, 아유, 안녕하세요.
많은 유족들이 에스터를 반갑게 맞아줍니다.
감사합니다.
이분께서 산내 곤룡골을 처음 외신에 보도하신 앨런 위닝턴 기자님 부인이세요.
미망이시죠. 아유, 그러세요.
영국에서 직접 오셨습니다. 오늘 위령대 참석하시려고.
예, 미스터 양입니다. 예. 먼 데서 이렇게 오시느라고 먼 데서 오시느라고 수고 많았습니다.
Thank you for from the London, so long distance.
It's a sad journey, but I'm glad I came.
슬픈 여행이지만 너무 정말 기꺼이 오셔서
아이고,
함께 하셔서 좋아요.
예, 지금 진짜 환영합니다.
너무 감사해요.
너무 감사해요. 우리 제주도에서 왔거든요. 제주 4.3으로.
You know, they are from Jeju Island.
감사해요.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
제주 4.3 때문에 제주에서
So you know, there's
산내 곤령골에서는 최소 1,800여 명에서 최대 7,000여 명으로 추산되는 사람들이 목숨을 잃었는데요. 그중에는 제주 4.3 관련자들과 여순항쟁 관련자들, 보도연맹원 등 많은 좌익 인사들이 포함되어 있었습니다.
Oh dear.
그리고 정말 에스터를 보고 싶어 했던 또 한 명의 사람, 바로 임재근 팀장입니다.
Right.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
My name is 임재근.
He had a presentation at SOAS last year with me.
Dear Esther, please sign me. I gave him this book.
Really? Good grief, that's me.
Can I tell you something about
Yeah.
Im Jae-gun? Im Jae-gun ordered Alan's pamphlet, I Saw the Truth in Korea, all the way to Korea. And he was the only person who discovered, and he's the only researcher. There's only a few people who know about this area, and it's
Really?
mainly. See?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Goodness, it's very rare now.
It's mine.
Amazon.
Amazon from the Amazon.
앨런이 맺어준 소중한 인연이 그가 떠난 지 36년이 지나 이곳 산내 골령골에서 만났군요.
What shall I write? I don't know what to write. Come on, give me a...
To Im Jae-gun.
How do you spell?
My name is Lim Jae-gun.
Oh, Lim.
He cares very much about the truth here, so maybe you could write something about the truth. I don't know. Well, Alan.
To Lim Jae-gun, the widow.
자신의 저서를 직접 들고 온 재근을 위해 에스더가 고마움을 담아 한자 한자 적습니다.
누가 그거 하나? 어제 아니다. 사회는 누가 그거? 김난태 누가? 누가 그걸 누가 해? 김난태야? 그래서 어제
Thank you. Thank you. This is my present for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this is my articles.
Oh, right. You'll have to
here.
translate it.
It's about Goryeo-gun.
Oh, wow, thank you.
This place.
Oh, thank you. I will treasure that.
And please sign your sign.
Oh, it's going to be.
Sign.
Shall I just write my name?
Yeah, your name, please.
There we are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I thank you for getting my book.
Handshake. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Wow, that's wonderful. Well done.
Wonderful.
You better show that to the camera.
제69주기 20차 대전 산내 학살 사건.
이들이 서로 반가워하는 사이 희생자들을 추모하기 위한 위령제가 시작되었습니다.
위닝턴 그 기자가 이것을 기사화 기획함으로써 1983년 돌아가시기 전까지
에스터의 방문을 환영한다는 말을 전하고 있는 황인호 대전 동구청장.
이 산내학살이 저희가 초기에 1,500명 정도 될 것이라고 생각했는데 우리 데일리 워커즈를 통해서
그리고 이어서 에스터도 위령제에 참석한 분들을 향해 앨런에 대한 추도사를 하게 됩니다.
로 쓰여지고 그것이 세상에 공개되면서 여기서 얼마나 많은 무고한 희생자들이 있었는지를 알려냈습니다. 우리 에스터 여사 소개해드리고 추도사 듣는 시간 갖겠습니다.
I first met Alan in Beijing in 1949 when he was a foreign correspondent covering the civil war in China for his English newspaper. I was his interpreter and assistant. When the Korean War broke out in June 1950, he was sent by his paper for what he thought the war would be over in 2 weeks. He stayed until the end of the war in 1953. And on one of his rare visits back to China to recuperate, we married. He witnessed unspeakable horrors, indiscriminate bombing of innocent civilians, and the use of napalm dropped on the population. Alan described a 5-year-old boy, his face and body horribly burned with no eyelids, and his weeping mother saying, "Who will marry him?" not realizing that his son would not survive. It affected Alan for the rest of his life and he never got over the pain and misery he saw because of the war. But the most horrifying description was when he visited the mass grave in Rangwon near Daejeon of thousands of intellectuals slaughtered by the authorities, with bodies hardly covered with soil. He wrote a pamphlet likening it to the Nazi slaughter in the concentration camps. His report of what he witnessed was suppressed by the warring parties, and Alan was branded a traitor by the British government. His passport confiscated, and if he returned to Britain, he would have faced charges of treason. Not a single British or American correspondent journalist paid a visit to Rangwon to investigate, and Alan was exiled from his country for over 20 years for exposing the truth. He died in 1983, too late to recognize his sacrifices for exposing the crimes against humanity. But I hope it has not been in vain, and acknowledged by the descendants of those thousands of intellectuals massacred by the warmongers.
그리고 엄숙한 분위기 속에 추모제가 시작됩니다.
어머니 눈가에 맺힌 눈물 해지고 달이 떠도 마누라 없었던 어머니.
이제 마지막으로 희생당한 분들을 위해 헌화를 합니다. 그런데 갑자기 지난 70년의 회한이 밀려오는군요. 지금 이 순간 이들은 아무 말을 하지 않아도 서로의 마음을 너무나도 잘 이해하고 있습니다.
Due to his report of Nangwol, I mean the 산내 굴룡골 massacre, Alan was branded a traitor by the British government.
Yes.
So how was his life after that?
Very sad, because he longed to be back in England. He loved England very much, and I think life as an exile in East Germany wasn't a very happy one, but he did eventually marry an East German woman, and I think he had some degree of happiness, and they would come and visit us and stay with us, so we accepted the status quo, really. But if I was to say, did I love Alan? Of course we did. That would never stop. We always had this affection, and I think if he'd given a choice, he would have wanted to come back. But by that time, he had made his life in Germany and a living, and he had a better standard of living in Germany, whereas if he came back to England, I don't think he would have had the same standard of living that he had in Germany. And he was happy with a new wife and 2 stepchildren.
When he finally got his passport, he was too old to come back to England because he couldn't find work, so he had to stay in Germany, much against his will, really. So in a way, he was a prisoner for over 50 years. For telling the truth.
그날 저녁, 에스터는 산내 골령골과 평화를 주제로 하는 심포지엄을 찾았습니다.
You're going to knock down something? Okay. Right.
여기 어떻게 오시게 됐어요?
집 근처고요. 우선 골령골에 관해서 제가 대충 알고는 있는데 오늘 좀 자세히 깊이 알고 싶어서 왔습니다.
위닝턴 기자에 대해서 들어보신 적 있으세요?
저는 잘 못 들어봤어요.
혹시 그럼 산내 골룡골에 대해서?
네네. 산내 골령골 이야기에 작년부터 좀 관심이 있어서 보다가 관련해서 좀 궁금하기도 하고 심포지엄을 한다고 해서 참여하게 됐어요.
How much information do you have about the 골룡골 massacre?
Oh, actually, David has told me a lot. And before David told me, I didn't know anything about it. But after he told me, I got more and more interested, and he recommended some books to read. And I was quite surprised at how much I didn't know, even though I lived close to the area.
Professor 한홍구.
이날 심포지엄에선 한홍구 교수, 신규상 기자, 그리고 데이빗 밀러 박사가 발표를 합니다.
오늘 어떤 거에 대해서 이야기해 주실 예정이신가요?
주로 산내 골령골에서 1950년에 있었던 학살의 유형 사례 요것에 대해서 준비했습니다.
한국전쟁 전후의 국가폭력하고요. 그에 남긴 트라우마, 그리고 그다음에 학살의 가해자들 이야기를 좀 할까 합니다.
I just want to give a foreign perspective on what happened, because what happened was reported in the foreign media, but many Koreans don't know the reality of it, and many foreigners don't know because it was censored. So for the first time, maybe for some people.
한국 전쟁 때 대전 산내
그리고 심포지엄은
수천 명의
시작되었습니다.
민간인들이 적법한 재판 절차도 없이 대한민국 정부에 의해 무참히 학살당했던 사실 여러분들은 알고 계셨나요? 사실 이 놀랍고도 안타까운 사건에 대해 알고 계신 분들이 생각보다 그리 많지는 않으신 것 같습니다.
한홍구 교수가 국가 폭력의 위험성과 인권에 대해 이야기하고, 신규상 기자는 한국 전쟁 때 산내 골령골에서 무슨 일이 벌어졌는가를 이야기하고, 그리고 데이빗 밀러 박사는 외신에서 바라본 한국 전쟁과 민간인 학살에 대해 이야기합니다.
I began looking at accounts of Winnington that are accessible on the Imperial War Museum website.
에스터를 위한 축하 공연으로 심포지엄은 마무리가 됩니다.
After the talk show and the seminar, so how do you feel now?
Very moving, very interesting, and I didn't realize how much the Korean people loved Alan and respected him. This has been quite a revelation to me, and I can't wait to tell the family that they should be more proud of him than they already are. And it's thanks to you and the people here.
20년 뒤 영국 정부로부터 여권을 되찾은 앨런의 삶은 어떠했을까요?
It was the intervention of 2 local Labour MPs who then began campaigning for the return of his passport, and it was over 20 years later that it was eventually given to him. And then he would come and visit England, but then he realized that his home, that he had made a home in Germany, and he was becoming a writer and a broadcaster and television, and so he had a new life in Germany, which he couldn't have had in London anymore.
기인하긴 하루가 이제 끝나갑니다.
Aren't you tired?
No. I am full of life. It's been a very exciting day.
So what was the most impressive?
The most impressive things that have impressed me is the admiration for Alan and the love for Alan and for what he did, which I didn't know that it was that much.
그리고 에스터는 한국에서의 마지막 밥을 보냅니다.
Good night.
다음 날 아침, 영국으로 떠나기 전 에스터는 산내 골령골이 있는 행정기관인 대전 동구청을 찾았습니다. 대전 동구에는 대한민국 정부의 국책사업의 일환으로 한국 전쟁 때 산내 골령골을 포함한 모든 민간인 희생자들을 추모하기 위한 공원이 곧 조성될 예정입니다.
두 가지를 이게 제안하고 싶은데, 하나는 산내 골령골에 이제 그 평화 공원을 이게 그 조성을 하게 되면은 그 추모 시설 중에 그 추모관이라든지 이런 곳에 그 당시에 이제 그 취재했던 이게 그 취재할 때 취재에 관련돼 있던 그런 이게 그 자료들을 이게 그 좀 거기도 유품과 더불어서 이게 전시를 하고.
이에 황인호 청장이 전시 공간을 마련할 계획을 이야기하는데요. 앨런과 관련된 유품 기증을 공식 요청합니다.
Yes, I will try and collect and get them from the children as well. I will make a collection.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
예, thank you.
이렇게 해서 에스터의 마지막 공식 일정이 모두 끝났습니다.
So it's finishing for you your trip in Korea to Korea. So
I am completely amazed and confused, and I'll have to sit quietly and let everything get right in my mind and work it all out.
Oh.
It'll all come.
I understand. When you see
Can
the
you
pictures.
imagine it? Yes.
When you see the pictures.
Yes, and when I see all the photographs, everything will click into place. It's been a fantastic 3 days. A very busy one too. And a mixture of sadness, excitement. I had all the emotions. Didn't it?
1949년 이후 70년 만에 다시 찾은 한국. 그리고 너무나도 달라진 한국에서 만난 한국 사람들. 에스터는 이들에게 어떤 말을 하고 싶을까요?
What would you like to say to the bereaved family and Korean people and the Korean government? This is the three.
I wish Alan was alive to see that he has been remembered for what he did for Korea. And I want to thank the Korean people for remembering and not forgetting that the sacrifices he made have now been rewarded, if you like. And my only regret is that he isn't alive to see it.
70년 만에 짧았던 2박 3일간의 한국 여행은 이렇게 끝났습니다. 하지만 다시는 전쟁으로 인해 고통받는 사람이 없도록 우리가 가야 할 길은 아직도 계속 이어지고 있겠죠.
What I do for you, Alan.
Yes. You're very giving.
You're paying me back.
He owes you.
And why don't you, David, and everybody please stand next to Esther?
Would you like your picture there? I can see it.
Yeah, this is.
Okay, let me take your picture.
It's really nice.
Stand in the middle. I like these kind of places too. In Busan's many places.
Because it's folk art, isn't it?
Oh, Esther, this would be a good picture.
Really?
Ready? 3,
Yes.
2, 1.
고마웠어요, 에스터.